Okay, good morning traders. This is Bruce at Velox Pro. If you can hear me and see my screen, can you just place a yes or a Y in the questions? All right, yep, all right, thank you traders. Excellent, we'll get started here, so everything's good. Okay, well, first off, thank you for inviting us to the Trader Jam session with Robert. Pleased to be here and happy to go over BookMap and demo this unique product for you. So before we get started, let's just get to the beginning here, who we are and what exactly we do. So just go right to the website here. If you haven't seen it already, I'm going to put it into the chat box. Okay, there you go. Just going over what BookMap is. All right, so we are, the definition is right down here. This is a product that delivers the only configurable heat map display that visualizes both real-time order flow and live trade analysis information combined with historical depth of market data. So basically, we are able to handle through our complex event processor millions of data points, and we're able to display that depth of market historically. Okay, and this is the unique aspect of BookMap. So we're showing you every single event that took place in the market, and that's about as objective as you can get. Okay, so very, very powerful software. All right, and just going through the website here, you know, you see the features, the platforms that that we support. Okay, S5 Trader through their data feed, DTNIQ just directly through their data feed. If you trade off of TT Xtrader Pro, it will go through the TT API. There's CQG Continuum and CQG Trader, Rhythmic Data. There's NinjaTrader, NinjaTrader 7. You will need to go through their API, so it works a little differently. Just like any other NinjaCater out there. And then there's interactive brokers, okay? And then here are a few of our partners, Stage 5 Trading, AMP, and others. So if you trade with them, you might want to reach out to them and speak with them about some other possibilities. Okay, so that's pretty much the website, just going through here. Yeah, transact data, that will be supported very shortly. We will offer that, okay? But it's not quite there yet, but it is in the works, okay? All right, let's see here. I'm not sure how familiar you are with BookMap, but we'll just get to it here. Looking at BookMap, is a little different than looking at many other products. Okay, so what we're looking at here, and the best way to go over this is to show a dome. All right, so most traders are familiar looking at a dome. So let me bring one up here. Okay, through another platform, very you know, traditional looking dome here. All right. Okay, so in this dome, what do we have? We have the best bid and offer, so this is your level 1 data right here, okay? And then you have last traded volume, which is this number here to the left. And then you can see your depth of market here on the bid. So these are all those traders that are providing liquidity. They want to trade at these specific price levels, and they're providing their orders and lining up in a FIFO type market, just lining up here at these specific price levels. This is your depth here on the ask. So the pulling and adding of liquidity occurs when you see these numbers change. Right? In BookMap, what you're looking at is basically the same thing with the columns data that you see here. Now, This data here is historical, but to the right of this vertical white line is your best bid and ask. Okay, so this dotted green line is your best bid, and your best ask is the dotted red line. The red number here that you see is the last traded volume. Okay, to the right of that you have your price ladder, and then to the right of that is your depth of market. So this is the depth here that you see on the bid, and here's the depth you see on the ask. Okay, all of this correlates directly to what you're seeing over here. Okay, so if we look down at 1980, we see 684. Well, 664 now, 666, 686. Okay, so you can see how they relate. That's the dome. All right, so that's what we're showing in BookMap. Now we have all sorts of volume columns and profile columns that we'll go over a little bit later, but it's kind of key to get this understanding here of what we're presenting. This column here is a current order book. Okay, the column I have to the right here is another current order book column. Okay, but what I'm showing here, I've formatted this, and you just format a column by right-clicking on it, and you can see that I have the current order book. And if I choose format, you can see that I have bars only selected here. Okay, if I use numeric values, it's going to be similar to the other column I have next to it. Okay, but in this one, I'm just going to show the bars only. So with my depth of market here, to the right of that, I have a graphical representation of these numeric values. Okay, so as you can see down here at 1980, this is the highest level in the book. All right, I can very quickly spot it by just looking at the bars. And I can look over here and verify that and see that 667 contracts are at this price level. Okay, so that's just a couple of the columns. We'll get into the volume and quotes columns and other data that we show in a bit. But in the current market window, you notice this grayscale. Okay, this grayscale is the another graphical representation of these numeric values. Okay, so if it's very white, that's going to be the highest area in the book, the most liquidity at that price level. So at 1980, we have the 674 contracts. That is bright white. Okay, if I move up here, let's see, let's find another area that's pretty lit up here. We have 355 up here, and you can see that it's a lighter shade of gray. Right, so this is pre-market on the S&P, but still you can see what the heat map is displaying here. Now, what's interesting is, now let me just zoom in a little bit, is we capture that data. Okay, all of this data here is captured and then projected onto the charts. So if I look here, if I zoom in a little bit more, and we see some of these numbers change, you see the heat map change. Okay, and then these striations you see here in the heat map is the pulling and adding of liquidity. All right, so when you see a number change, you see that the heat map changes, and then that's captured and projected onto the charts. So instead of having to remember a price level and the amount of liquidity that was offered or bid at a specific area, now it's just a graphical representation, and you can see it historically on the chart. Okay, and that's a huge advantage, because as you start to zoom out, a bigger picture starts to unfold here. You start to see areas where they're bidding it up. Okay, you see that buyers in this area here, they've been bidding it up. They're front running these guys down here at 1980. It's like they see that there's a lot of liquidity down here. The buyers are down here. There's buyers underneath here as well. And these guys are providing liquidity at higher levels. Okay. On the sell side, we can see that there's sellers up here around this 83.50 area. Okay. High area of liquidity, very, very short term though, just in here for a little bit of time, and then they pull that liquidity. Okay, so they don't really are not too intent on trading up in this area. So we're starting to understand the auction process here, what's really going on. We can see that you know, the sellers are up in this area, the buyers are down in this area, and then very short-term liquidity is taking place within that area. It's pushing and pulling the market and price back and forth between the real demand and supply that we can witness here at this time. Okay, so that's what you're looking at, and that's what BookMap is able to present. So now, if these areas start to line up, maybe, for example, with your higher time frames, you can start to look to BookMap to give you an idea of, like, well, are they really interested in trading down in these areas? And you can see that they certainly are at this moment. You know, they're down here between 79 and 80, waiting to get filled. Okay, so we've just covered. We haven't even covered traded volume yet, and yet, in fact, I'm going to come up here to the studies configuration, and I'm going to take off the volume dots. Okay, we're just looking at historical view here of best bid and offer and limit order book. Okay, historical limit order book, and you can see how price reacts to that. Right, you can start to see that there were buyers down here at 81. Price came down. It looks like some of that got filled, some of it was pulled, but we had a nice bounce. Okay, this affected price. Without looking at any traded volume, you can see how it affects price. Up here at this 83.50 area, the sellers started to come in, and this is where price stopped. It rotated lower, looking for more liquidity. The markets, they need liquidity to trade, and that's why this data can be very pertinent. All right, so you can see us just bouncing back and forth right now pre-market between these areas. If I want to zoom in, for example, and study some specific areas, you can do that as well. So click on the hand tool here, and then what I'm going to do, instead of using the zoom tools here, I can just come in, roll over this area, and use my center mouse wheel to scroll in. Okay, and we notice some algorithmic activity here that is very short-term, very high liquidity, that is pushing price into some of these areas here. Okay, so now we're starting to take all of this data from that limit order book and start to understand bigger picture of what's going on with price and how the pulling and adding of liquidity is affecting price. Okay, short-term algorithmic activity possibly pushing price to fill some of these orders down here at 81. Okay, now to verify that, let's turn on those volume dots and take a look. Okay. So now we've turned on the volume dots, and we can take a quick look, and yeah, we can see that there was a lot of volume that traded in this little area here. We can see it by these big red dots. Okay, so let me go over the volume dots and explain that. All right, so the what we use for, and I'm going to zoom in here a bit, and I'll show you with this example. In BookMap, we use the aggressor classification of volume. So if, let me explain, if a trade takes place on the best offer, that means that someone hit the buy button to have that transaction take place on the offer. Okay, so that's an aggressive market order. All right, so this dot here that you see, this little yellow dot, someone was they wanted price badly enough at 1981 that they were willing to pay up the spread. They will cross the spread and pay up a tick to get filled at that price immediately. Okay, they did not wait in the book for that price to come to them. They just wanted in right away, and that is that aggressor classification that I'm talking about. Okay, down here on the offer, on the bid, a red dot signifies an aggressive sell order, market sell order. Okay, so you can see how the market is being made here. These aggressive buys, they're taking liquidity off of the offer. The aggressive sells, they're taking liquidity off of the best bid. All right, so this little area that we were just watching here, we can see that red dots fill this area down in these areas. This is where that liquidity is getting filled. All right, in BookMap, we're able to zoom in to these areas and show you every single event that took place. Okay, this is going to be a massive distinction between us and other platforms. Okay, other trading tools, they're not going to be able to go into these kinds of levels and show you every single event that took place. Okay, the performance of BookMap is much higher compared to many of the other products. So if I zoom in, for example, now we're looking down at the nanosecond scale. Right, I can look at every single event that took place here, and we can study them. We can roll over with this data tip tool and notice exactly what time or the date, the time, what was on the bid at this price level, and the volume that traded at this price level. Okay, all of this information that I'm using this data tip tool with is also available in this lower left-hand corner. Okay, so you see how quickly all of these trades took place. So if you need any sort of proof that these markets are dominated by the algorithmic activity, then I think that this is a pretty good demonstration of showing that. Now notice as I zoom out what BookMap is doing with this traded volume. Okay, so we're able to zoom in and see every single event that took place, right? But as I zoom out, BookMap will then consolidate these dots and we'll paint a bigger dot. Okay, so notice these dots. These events happen so quickly that as I zoom out, we're still, in between each. We're still looking at, this is basically a blink of an eye between each vertical white dotted line here. So if I start to zoom out though, you notice that all of those events have been painted in a graphical representation to show just a big red dot. All right, so that way, when you start to zoom out, you can see that this information, instead of a crazy amount of dots, you're noticing that they're consolidated and painted into one big red dot, just to give you a better sense of useful information when you start to zoom out at these higher time frames. So was this area filled down here? Looks like it to me. We can see that this liquidity here, some of it was pulled, but a lot of it traded, and we can verify that by seeing these big red dots. All right, so if you need to verify this activity, did it trade, did it pull, you can look right at it. In fact, I can go in and I can show you using the volume columns and the amount of trades that took place, because we have another column for that. I can show you exactly what traded. All right, so let's see, this is the volume column from a chart range. So if I zoom in again and show that this cluster, okay, within this chart range here, everything that you see here, a volume of 51 has traded. Okay, I can add another column. I can format a column or insert a column here. And then I'm going to right-click again inside here, and I'm going to show the trade counter. Okay, so now I know exactly what took place here. There was 24 trades that took place for a volume of 51. Okay. All right. Okay, so how is this all useful? How does it all come together? now you're able to start to see the traded volume, the aggressor classification. This is just as effective as looking at a footprint chart, because you can see exactly where this volume traded. If you're looking at footprint charts, you're gonna see a candlestick, and it's gonna tell you where the volume traded, just like this in BookMap. But we're just doing it graphically. We're showing the cluster of the traded volume here, and your footprint chart, you're just gonna see the numbers here, and obviously you're gonna see higher numbers down in this area, okay? And the beauty here, for example, in BookMap, you can see a trade setup right in this area, in a sense. If you're bullish when price came down and filled these areas here, what I can see here very clearly in BookMap, for example, this flurry of activity, a rotation back up, a rotation back down, and look at the action that took place here. Okay, very little. As well here, very little. Okay, these are points of exhaustion, okay, and rejection. So as price came back down into this area, the sellers dried up. There was a few little sellers right here, volume of 64, 6, whatever, but not too much, not compared to over here. Okay, so price rejects out of there. This is pointing out the lack of trading. Okay, so we're looking at a low volume pullback into this zone here. Okay, the reaction is testing out the upper levels. Okay. So anyway, that's one way of starting to, it depends on how you trade, but what we're able to show you, just like a footprint chart, is these areas here of high liquidity, and then and high volume that took place, low liquidity after this area because this area traded, and then you see this pullback here with very little volume on it. We rotate higher to find that liquidity, okay? And they found it back up here at this 83.25. All right, so let's see here. The one distinction, a massive distinction between like a footprint chart or any other sort of order flow tool that I've seen is that we're showing you the book, we're showing you the liquidity. The traded volume is only half the picture here. You need to know where the traders are. Like in this area here, you can see a flurry of activity down in this area. I mean, we did get this retest of this area. As it came back down into this area though, this high liquidity, we didn't even come down to test it, right? So this is really good information. We know there's high liquidity down at this price level. In fact, we notice them as price goes continues on. We notice them starting to bid it up in this area, and we can see it. We can see the bids here, and that's giving you good insight to rotation higher to test some of this liquidity up in this 83.50 area. Okay, so that trade, and a footprint chart, you're going to lack this information down here. You're not going to see it, and BookMap is able to show that for you. Okay, so anyway, as I was showing this area and how this price at 81 and this liquidity got filled, let's just look at some of the algorithmic activity now. Bringing in some of that information from that limit order book, that historical limit order book. This high short-term liquidity pressed price into this area. Okay, as soon as that game was filled, as soon as this action was completed, we rotated higher. Okay, so this algo or whoever, whatever the intent was, it created an imbalance in that limit order book, and price went lower into this area. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let me show you. This is important. Okay. This would be an imbalance in the book. Okay, this is why I use the column here as a graphical representation, because you can see it. Notice that very close to the, here's your best bid and offer here. Okay, and then here, all of a sudden, there's high liquidity. Okay, it's there's a little bit of liquidity here, but the highest liquidity is at 1981. Okay, I mean clearly we can see it. Right now, as I scroll forward, notice this area here, it starts to build out. Okay, all of a sudden, boom! Now at 81.50, we have higher liquidity at this area. Okay, this is gonna affect price. This changes the slope of the limit order book. All of a sudden, there's a lot of sellers, very close, very aggressive, that they want to sell, and the algos are able to read that information and make that market lower. Okay, as soon as that market is made lower, you can see that the fills that took place here, then that guy he pulled that liquidity. Okay, right in here. Okay, and then here, high liquidity again. Okay, and then we noticed that some of that liquidity here traded. So we had a bit of a battle that unfolded here. Okay, so some of this was filled, but the aggressive buyers they took it off. They took on that that offer. And they said, okay, so if you're going to offer it at this level, I'll take it. And you can see the yellow dots here. Okay, so back and forth here. Okay, and then a bit of sideways action, and then finally we get just a bit of a, in very, very micro scale, but a bit of exhaustion when we rotate back up. So we come back down to, and get that liquidity here at this 80 3/4. Okay. So anyway, just starting to unfold. You know, I know we're looking at pre-market, and it's you know, not quite as volatile, or it doesn't have quite as much liquidity. The same game though plays over and over again, because we're looking at more micro scale here. But when we start to zoom out in a bigger picture, we see the same game over and over again. It's very fractal. And we're showing you how this unfolds in a micro scale here. Okay, so for example, let's see here. I'll go to the website. Okay. Okay, in the members area here, there is an education tab. So just click on that. You need to register to become a member. You just need a name and an email. And then scroll down here and then click on this high frequency trading PDF. Okay, and in this PDF, whoops, we go through many of the market phenomena that you see in the high frequency environment. Okay, and some of the things that we just went through are in here as well. Let me bring it up here. I've got it on my desktop. And I want to go over just a little bit of the phenomena, right? Because what we're just going through is basically very similar to spoofing type of action. I mean, it is spoofing type of action. Okay, so spoofing would be like you see very akin to that example here, high liquidity. Okay, here's your best bid and offer. Down here at the 1981 area, these were those guys that wanted to get filled, and you see that high liquidity come in. It does not have intent to trade. Okay, it actually did trade. Some of it did, but someone took them on. But as soon as that high liquidity shows up in the book and flashes, changes the slope of the limit order book, price presses down into that best bid, it fills this area, then these orders cancel. Okay, so the goal to fill these orders has taken place, and then we're able to move on. Okay, so yeah, we're at the U.S. Open at the moment. Okay, cash open, and notice immediately the distinction here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Just tons of volume coming in, tons of liquidity comes into the market. Okay, so now we'll see the price bashing back and forth between these higher areas of liquidity. Okay, we'll see if you know, in the open we can see that price can just cut through some of these thicker areas of liquidity rather quickly in the beginning here. Right, so we'll keep an eye out here, but looks like we're pretty poised to come down and test this 1980 level. And there we go, right there. All right, so we're trading there now, and some of that liquidity. Yeah, we're getting it filled here. Okay. All right, so look at the same game though. This is why I mentioned that these are fractal. The same game being played out. Very high liquidity here, very aggressive, close to price, pressing it down into this 1980 level. Okay, and we're still going lower here. Let's see if they start to press and lower the offer yet again here. Okay, and maybe we'll come down and test some of these lower areas as well. Okay, so I'm looking for these guys to lower that offer, and let's see if we get it here. Not really, not quite. You see some liquidity coming in here now. There they go. There's some. Okay, aggressive buying though. A lot of buying taking place too. Okay, just a bit of sideways action, but haven't really seen anyone take a stance yet. Just these guys here. That was the first, lowering that offer here. That was the first stance that we've seen here. I want to see them get more aggressive though. We'll get a flush maybe down into this liquidity here. Okay, and instead, notice these guys now they're starting to pull some of that liquidity up in these areas. Okay, let's see if they come in on the bid now. Maybe they're going to bid it up, and now since this area is pulled, we can come up and test the open swing here up to 80 and a quarter. Okay, the door was open for those sellers, so they just didn't take it though. Okay, so now the door is open for those buyers if they want, and let's see them bid it up here. 79, they're getting interested. Here they come. Here come those buyers. All right, let's see one more push here. Let's see if they can support underneath. And here we go. Let's go. Let's see those buyers come in. Notice the sellers getting interested again. They started pulling from here up into, up to a higher level, but now they're starting to add in here as well. So notice the cluster here of that liquidity, okay, graphically. So we're just, so basically what we're seeing is now they're starting to come in. Is just that bouncing around between these higher areas of liquidity. Okay, and it makes sense. Markets being made between these two areas. Okay, so let me show you a few different things also in the columns. This is some pretty useful information. All sorts of data columns here to be able to look at. All right, the way I've got it set up, let me hide this column here. The way I've got it set up is I have the chart range volume. I have 2 chart range volume profiles and a session range volume profile. The chart range volume profile, like I showed you, I just right-click here in format, and I have numbers only in one, and then I have bars only in the other. Okay. Now in the bars only, I also have a VWAP showing here as well. Okay, and so now I have a volume profile of what is viewable in this range. Okay, so if I start to zoom in, you'll notice that this profile is going to get a lot smaller. Okay, because it's the chart range. Okay, but that's an advantage. You can start to study, for example, a specific range and get that within your chart. And therefore, you can look at what that profile looks like compared to the session volume profile. Okay, the session volume profile is when I opened up BookMap and started collecting this data. Okay, so notice if I zoom all the way out, the session range volume profile is going to match the chart range volume profile. Okay, but how this can be helpful is start to look for those low volume nodes in between the session range and chart range. All right, or if you're one of those types of traders that loves to trade from the lower levels back to VWAP, then you've got I've got 2 different VWAPs here set up. Okay, so from this chart range, we can just go from the cash open chart range. This area down here, if you're one of those types of traders and you see some of this liquidity and you want to trade outside edge back to the VWAP, then this was a successful trade. Okay, so we're now trading at the pre-market level, that at least from the data that I have so far, back to the VWAP. Okay, so looks like we're kind of set up for some sideways action for the moment. Okay, we did come up and test these guys up here. Okay, so up at this 81.75, you can see this area filled up here. Okay, and then the sellers just come right back in. Okay, notice this liquidity here, pressing. Okay, let's see them now. This is that chance again for those sellers to come back in, and they can lower that offer here. Let's see if they get it. And now we'll finally get that rotation down to the 79. Okay, looking for that higher liquidity. Lower that offer. We're still not getting it. Still not getting it. Okay, so buyers coming back in. Okay, so we're testing it now. I'm just going to take just a little bit of a push here, and we'll go through the 79. Okay, there we go. But just leaving the door open for the buyers, as they're not hammering on it here at all. Okay, and the buyers are coming in. Okay, now let's see the bulls come in, and now they're going to start supporting it at higher levels. Are they going to chase it? Do they want this bad enough that they'll start providing liquidity at higher levels? Okay, so you can see how I'm using this information from the limit order book. These numbers flashing, now they have significance for you and your trading. You can see it graphically being played out, and that's going to give you an edge. Okay. Let me still. There's so much to cover, and there's just so little time here. I've got basically about 5 more minutes here of presentation, and then I need to get to the questions. Let me go over a few things here. Yeah, some of the tools up in these areas here. We offer a lot of add-ons. There's all sorts of things to go over here. I think I'll just finish up with the columns quickly, and then we'll get to maybe some of these other tools. The columns, though, some of this data here, if you right-click, you can look at volume, trade counter, quotes delta, which shows added and pulled liquidity. The quotes counter shows every single quote that flashes within these areas, and the trades counter we went over already. You can add in a custom notes column as well, and left click and add a note and like high of day, and add a style to it as well. Let's put in a color, and there's my custom note. Okay, so all sorts of flexibility here. You can move these columns around to other areas. You can even move them to the other side of the chart. So it's really how you want to set up your platform, and you have that flexibility. All right. Now we finally got our push down. Okay, this is what I was looking for as I was talking, and here's what we were looking for. Right, it just happened a little bit later. All right, this is where they finally, the sellers came in and lowered that offer, aggressive liquidity, pressing price lower. All right, so you can see it play out. This is exactly what we were starting to look for, and the sellers finally came in here and got aggressive. Okay, so this is exactly just a microcosm of what we were looking at in that pre-market example. Okay, wherever it was, back over here, I think. Right. So anyway, with the columns data too, I can split this data out. I just want to show this quickly, that I'll show bars and numbers, okay? And then I'm going to split this. So what I'm showing now is the delta between the aggressive volume. Notice that in the session volume profile here, the red and the green. So we have the composite here of both aggressive buying and selling volume. So what I've done in this column here, though, is I've split that volume out. So I have my aggressive sellers here on the left and my aggressive buyers here on the right. Therefore, you can start to look at the delta, and there's lots of traders that like to look at volume delta. So we offer that for you as well. So you can start to notice your low volume nodes. Obviously, there's one right here, and you can see it in the session profile. So looking for maybe a return back to the 78 area where we broke from of this range, and you can see sellers they're starting to line up already. Okay, so we'll see if we get tested here and see if we fill this zone here, or do we accept down below it. If we accept down below it, we're going to rotate lower for another swing here. Okay, that's just a low volume node, and I know all you volume profile traders are very aware of all of the different nodes that you look at. Anyway, that's a real quick overview of some of the columns. There are many different tools up here to go over. There are, if I click on the microscope icon, there's all sorts of add-on features that we can show. There's the large lot tracker, which is in this column here. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay. in this column here, this little white line, we have an algo that is able to detect that the liquidity, all the liquidity to the left of this white line is high probability it's one trader. Okay, that gives you an advantage here to see that, for example, right now we have more sellers here, more aggressive sellers here on the offer than we do on the bid. So let's see if coming up, okay, so we're testing that 78 area that we were looking for. Now we'll see if we reject and swing lower, or are we going to start to accept in this area, fill it in, and then maybe the aggressive buyers can maybe reach this 82 area. But right now, I think we're going to see initial pullback, right, on that. And the large lot trader tracker is starting to help me, show that here. Okay, I'm just, that combined with reading the map and reading the volume here. A little bit of exhaustion maybe in this area here. So let's see if we come back down and maybe get down to the 76 area. Okay. I also want to demo that we have one-click trading as an add-on feature. Okay, so you are able to trade within this window. Okay, this is the current market window here, and I can provide liquidity. This can work within your in demo or in your live account. So here's my limit order up here at 79. Okay, and if I left click on this area here, I can change that order. I can add another order here. Oops, I'm sorry, that's a market buy, and I'll just close that out. Let's try that again. I'll come up to 1980. All right, here's my limit order. Okay, left click here. I'll change that to 3, and I'll left click again. I'll place another order on top of it. So I have 4 lots, but 2 orders. Okay, if I move over, roll over this area, I can move these as well. And you can see that I have that flexibility to move the various orders to other areas. Okay. All right. Let me cancel all orders and just flatten everything for right now. One more thing I want to show for those of you who are spread traders. There's a synchronized chart button up here, and let me demo that for you. Okay, so this is the S&P, and then down below I have the oil market. Okay, and I'm going to line these up. Okay, and we're just going to zoom in on this one, so you can see that there's a big difference here between the time frames. Okay, but let's go back to that S&P chart, and I'll click on the synchronized chart. Okay, now you'll notice that my oil chart, or I'm sorry, this is not oil. This is the euro. Okay, you'll notice that my euro chart is synchronized with my my S&P chart. Okay, and let me line up this just a little bit better. Okay, because then you'll notice these vertical lines will start to they'll sync together. Okay, they're not actually syncing quite that great right now because I opened up this S&P. It's this column. I opened up the S&P a little bit later as well. Okay, let me hide that. There we go. Okay, so I'm synchronized between these two charts. Now, if I zoom in on my S&P chart, I also zoom in on my euro chart. Okay, if I zoom out, same thing. If I use this drag tool and then roll over an area and then use that center mouse wheel to scroll, I zoom into both areas on each chart. Okay, so yeah, you can see that feature as well. Okay, to get out of that synchronized chart tool, just click it again, and you're out. Right. So at this point, let's open it up for questions. Any questions that anyone has? I know there's a lot to go over and a lot to digest here, and there's still quite a bit more, to be honest. It's just, I mean, this is quite a platform, and you're looking at data that professional traders, how they consume this data, and basically looking at multi-million-dollar technology here at just a real fraction of that cost. Okay, want me to explain the demo version? Okay, in BookMap, you're able to record this data. Okay, this is another distinction and advantage with BookMap is I'm recording all of this data here right now, and then I'm able to replay this back in replay mode. Okay, so let me show you that quickly, and I'll stop the live session. And then I'll open up BookMap. Okay, so I'll just open up BookMap here on my desktop, double click on the icon, bring it up. In the run options here, you can select this. I was selected to live data trading simulated by BookMap. You can choose to trade into your live account, or you can choose this replay data mode. Okay, I'll choose that one. Okay, and then what you need to do is just click on the feed button here. All right, and then that'll bring up your feeds folder. This one is from today, from March 3rd. I'll open that. Okay, and now I'm in demo mode. Okay, so I'll just click on the instrument, and let me put this on top. Okay, this is a really good tool for studying your trades and learning about order flow. The advantages I have here is I can speed this up. Okay, I can start to zoom out, and once I start to get some data in here, let's just give it a moment here. It's pre-market, nothing trading. Let's speed it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm able to look at the market in fast pace here. And what this allows me to do, I use the analogy of a poker player, how the younger poker players, that are in their 20s, have gained decades of experience by playing digital hands, like tens of thousands or millions of hands of poker in a very short period. All right, so they were able to take on and challenge and beat veteran poker players who have been playing for several decades. The reason being is they have just as much experience. This tool allows you to do the same thing. You're able to look at many different instances of order flow very quickly. I can look at our whole session here. Okay, how it all unfolded within a few minutes. Okay, so just looking back and forth between the buyers and sellers, looking at lowering that offer, looking at some of the traded volume, and seeing that unfold very quickly. Okay, here's that area we were looking at earlier, right? 740. There it is. There's that retest right here, low volume pullback into this area, retest back up into this 83, and then basically some exhaustion up in there, that area as well, and we just rotate lower. Okay. Yeah, Robert, I can also trade in this environment too, and I can show. I have options here for stops and all sorts of other things. So instead of going through and explaining that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a link to a video that will explain that. Okay, so let's go into the, we're in the members area here. Okay, and click on Features. Okay, and then under 4.4 New Features, this is I'm going to give you this link here. I'm going to put it into the chat. There you go. So just click on that, and you can look at some of the new features we have for placing stop orders in here, moving those orders, changing them, yeah, all sorts of great stuff. Okay, so great new development with this 4.4 version. All right. Okay. So yeah, no more questions. Then I think yeah, we can start to wrap it up here. Okay. Yeah. No more questions. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's start to wrap it up. Okay. So I'm also going to give you a link to where you can find BookMap, and this is some of the pricing information if you are interested. Okay, so this is going to be a link to the website here for signing up. So click on that, and if you are interested, then I'm going to also give you this special coupon. Okay, and there's the promo coupon. All right, so I'll go over the pricing here, and we can take a quick look. Okay, so the free version only replays data files. This version does not. You do not need a platform nor a data feed. Okay, it's a standalone product and it only replays historical data files. Okay, this Pro version here, you're able to. You do need a supported platform or data feed, and you're able to look at your symbols and your markets in real time. Okay, you can record that data and also replay it in replay mode, just like I'm doing here. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The add-on features, we went over just the large lot tracker, but there are others. So if you're interested in those, you can find out more about them here, or you can also find out more about them here in the members area. Under the features tab, scroll down, and then there's BookMap add-ons. Okay, so if you're interested in those, click on this video and you can learn more about the add-ons. Okay, so yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, for the moment, there's always more to go over, always interesting stuff in the market, and BookMap does a pretty fine job of visualizing that information for you. All right. So anyway, if there's no more questions, then I think we can wrap it up and call it a day. So yeah, I just want to reach out and say thank you to Robert and the trading jam session for putting this together. It's been nice spending some time here this morning with you guys. So good luck with your trading, and we will talk with you another time. Okay, all right, yep, take care. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.